Hi, my name is Donna Swanson. I'm the Executive Director at Focus Alternative Learning Center in Canton. And this is our show, Focus on Autism, and we're going to be doing several shows on different topics. And today we're going to be talking about what our autism, being on the autism spectrum means to us, and how we feel different, and what we like about it, and that kind of thing. I'm going to turn it over to Lucas, who is my co-host and the team leader of our mentoring program.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about autism in general. We're going to be sharing really our thoughts on it and what makes us proud to be on the autism spectrum, really why we like and appreciate who we are. We define autism as a spectrum precisely because it ranges from one end to another. It's very much like a rainbow. It's very diverse. There are a lot of, if you will, colors that make up the rainbow of autism. And each person on the spectrum has a slightly different shade. Nobody is in exactly the same place as anybody else. The colors may be similar, but when you really break it down and look closely, each individual is slightly different. Each color is a slightly different shade. And that's what we really appreciate about ourselves, the individuality. So we're going to go around and each share a little bit about our own thoughts, and we'll start with Mike.
One of the things I wanted to add, though, is even though we're all different, there are still things that are very much the same, no matter where you fall on the spectrum. And that some of the key areas that are the same is the problems with anxiety, processing, reading the world, communications, those kind of things. Those are things that everybody has in common. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I would, yes.
Everybody, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike, you found out you were on the autism spectrum when you were how old?
Well, actually, I found out when I was about 14, maybe 15. 14
or 15. And how do you know that you have autism?
Well, I just know because people have told me.
Yeah. How does it feel to you having autism? What makes you different?
Sometimes people think I stick out like a sore thumb.
So sometimes people think you stick out like that's hard to say. Stick out like a sore thumb. In what way?
Social, academically, basically every way that you can stick out.
Yeah. And how does that make you feel?
Good in some ways, but bad in others. Because when I try to make friends, people kind of back away from me thinking, oh, he has this strange disease, when really I'm just trying to make friends.
Yeah. So people don't always understand you.
Right.
And I think you've gotten better at learning how to express yourself, but part of that came out of understanding what autism means for you.
Yeah.
What would you like the world to know about having autism?
It's well, like we've said on other panels or
other shows.
Other shows, yeah. It's basically like socialization problem. Some people like have trouble socializing. Some others may not. It really depends on the person.
Yep. So we're all different.
Yep.
But we all have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the sense of belonging is really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Emily, what would you have to say about being on the spectrum?
It's different. It's interesting to go and look back at your old videos when you're a toddler and stuff and see that how different you act sometimes from other kids. Like I would do things like pick up wood chips, walk around with them and around like a house with them and go back and put them back exactly where I found them before. I don't think many kids would do that.
Yep.
Around that.
And like to be in your own world sometimes, right?
Sometimes, all the time.
But we have to pull you out of that every now and then and bring you back to the real world, right?
Yes.
And what would you like the world to know about being on the autism spectrum? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing for you?
It's neither. It's just I am who I am. I'm Emily. I'm me. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's neither. It's neither. I'm proud of who I am. I'm no matter what I would have or don't have, would not have.
So autism doesn't define who you are?
No, I do not. It doesn't matter to me whether I have it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I obviously don't mind having it.
Yep. And you want people to understand you and give you a chance and not just write you off.
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
how does autism feel for you?
Well, autism feels like for me is I like to be creative. I like to draw animals, and I love to draw certain kinds of stuff that I love too. And I'm a very good artist, and I have a very big fascination with elephants.
So part of what autism helps with you is develop what you're interested in,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't stop thinking about those things.
Yeah.
And earlier you said that one of the things that you didn't like about autism, or was the anxiety.
Yeah, the anxiety.
Yeah, and I think that's something everybody here
Yeah.
agrees they have anxiety. Anybody here not have anxiety? Okay. So how do we know when you're anxious?
When I'm anxious, I say a little bit of baby words that mommy said it's okay, but I can't say the fresh words because I get in big trouble.
Yep. So that's how when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, I feel overwhelmed like that.
Yep. And loud noises.
Loud
and,
noises?
and too many instructions.
Yeah,
But you're kind of proud to be on the autism spectrum, huh?
yeah. I'm very proud to be in the autism spectrum because I've never been on this one before. Because it's my first time being on the autism spectrum. Because Mom said that I need to be on the autism spectrum because I need to talk about my autism and what I like to do in the future, and I like to be going to school and coming to Focus.
Good. And we want to teach people what it's like to have autism. And look at you, when you watch this show, you'll see how different each and every one of us are, but we're all still pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
Good. What about you, Lucas?
What autism feels like. It feels like a TV inside my head that I can't turn off.
Alex would agree with you on that too, because Alex often says that his mind can't stop, right?
Always thinking about old music. There's always a song playing in my head.
So you're always thinking about music, and there's always a song playing in your head.
Right.
Back to you, Lucas.
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would agree. It makes things difficult in a lot of ways. It creates a lot of difficulty relating to others, difficulty interpreting what others are trying to communicate and communicating to them in a way that they can interpret. But at the same time, it also, for me anyway, and I know the same is true for many of my compatriots here as well, for me it allows me to see things from perspectives that are different than those commonly held, I suppose, and as a result it lets me gain insight into both the world around me and myself that has proven very valuable to me. I would say, really Emily put it well, autism doesn't define who I am. It's part of it, but not the be-all and end-all, and I accept it for what it is. I work with it and try my best to solve the problems that it creates, but I don't let it destroy my life nor run it.
How did you know that you were different?
By the way others treated me, unfortunately, which started off being pretty negative. I was bullied a lot when I was much younger and really all throughout school. I was never really allowed to forget that I was different because those around me seemed so intent to rub it in. But when I first came to Focus and was diagnosed with Asperger syndrome, I began to at least have something that I could ask questions about, gain a little bit more information, and information is precisely what I was given. When I found the answers that I needed, it made it a little bit more clear what exactly it was that set me apart from others and why I was having the difficulties I was having.
Do you still feel that you're set apart?
Yes, but it's okay with me now. I don't mind. Largely because most of the people who ostracized me, really, I didn't want their company to begin with.
Right.
I'm kind of a solitary person. I like doing my own thing. I like lots of time to myself. I like having a very few people to whom I can be very close, but I get overwhelmed very easily by being around lots of people or by being around people too much. So it works for me.
I think that's true, again, for everybody here, is that they need nice, quiet, safe people to be around, not a lot of noise, stimulation, that kind of thing. And fidgets to help too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
There is always the sensory aspect.
Lauren, what is having autism like for you? Or being on the spectrum?
Being on the spectrum, it's very hard for me.
Hard for you in what way?
Well, it just gives me another reason to be made fun of, really.
Gives you another reason to be made fun of?
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you been made fun of a lot?
many times. I've lost friends just because I'm different.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known I've been a little off from everybody else.
How did you know you were always a little off from everyone else?
Well, I just had this feeling in my gut,
A feeling in your gut that you weren't like other people?
Yeah.
How do you feel about being different now? Is it getting any
It's-
better?
It's not really. It
Not
just
really?
seems to get worse.
Well, how old are you?
13.
Yeah, those are hard years, 13. You know, you're trying to figure out a lot of things that are hard for regular guys, never mind, you know, somebody on the spectrum. What would you like the world to know about being on the spectrum?
It's very hard. It's hard to be different. It hurts. It hurts a lot.
And you know what? When Lucas was your age, that's how he felt. And this, Lucas, you're feeling better about yourself. That's new in the last few years.
Yeah, you eventually come to realize that what other people think shouldn't define how you live your life, you know? You learn that they'll say what they want to say, and you can either let them destroy things for you or point at them and laugh.
But you're not there yet, right?
No.
Don't rush it.
Well, she wants to learn how to feel better about herself, though, right?
Yes.
And have things not hurt so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was horrible for me when I was around 13 also. It was felt like it was got a lot worse.
And girls are harder on each other at 13,
Oh,
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's horrible.
The teasing and the making
Yes.
fun of.
It's
And
really bad.
Guys
Yeah.
are pretty rotten too. I think
Those-
it's just the age. People are nasty to each other.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible for me too, especially with my dad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm.
We're talking
other
like,
peers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he kind of treated me like a peer. He would punch me every now and then. But,
yeah. Well, that's not a good thing, is it, Mike?
Right.
Andy, what about you and being on the spectrum?
Well, as some of you may know, I was diagnosed with Asperger's at 23, and I'm 29 right now. So I just I felt a lot, almost safer in a way, like since I got because as far as who I am and fitting in with the world, because I really like having the Asperger's label rather than just the ADD label.
Because why, Andy?
I've learned a lot about it, and I've also I felt that it really defines. It doesn't define who I am, like we were saying, but it defines the sort of if I'm searching for what's my purpose, it's like helping people with it, like autism spectrum disorders as well as having it is really who I am overall.
So that fit more to you
Yeah,
than
yes.
than just having
Then-
ADD
yeah.
or learning disabilities.
Which I still have, but I mean the Asperger's is really like the overall diagnosis. Yeah.
What would you like the world to know about autism?
For me, it's the I have an incredible memory, especially of sports games. So.
And what causes you the most trouble about having autism?
I have a lot of social anxiety, so that would be like the trouble aspect. Is just like fitting in over the years has been a little bit of a hard thing to do for me, but I still was able to do it because of track and field in high school. So.
And one of the when I think about it, one of the things that autism that you have in common with Emily, and I don't know about anyone else, but not wanting to grow up.
Right. Yeah. I'm like a Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan is many things. So.
Because both they like their comfort zone,
Yeah.
and you don't want to grow
Right.
up.
Yeah.
But you will.
Maybe.
Not if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you can avoid it, you're gonna.
And I have avoided it for the most part. Like I've avoided a lot of things, like overall. Like, but I mean, I've avoided growing up, like for the most part. Yeah.
Oh, and so that's another thing that people should know about autism. It's that sometimes people like to avoid things. And are
Yeah.
you avoiding things to be bad or?
No, I mean, I always say to myself, I'm not doing this to be like a jerk or anything, but I sort of do it because I don't feel like I can do something. So.
You don't feel safe or
Right, yeah.
feel comfortable or like you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
Alex, what would you like? Hi, honey. What would you like people to know about autism?
Like to know that will have to understand me even when I'm not talking.
So you want people to try and understand you even when you're not talking. And what do how do you know you have autism? What makes you different?
Takes me longer to learn most of the more complex rules.
Takes you longer to learn the complex rules, right?
Most of them.
Like, give me an example of a rule that's hard for you to learn.
Rule against touching other people's babies.
Yeah, Alex loves babies, and he likes to go up and just talk to people's babies and touch them. And that's not such a good thing, is it? Why isn't that a good thing?
Could be someone I don't know.
Because sometimes people, if you don't know them, they don't know who you are and why you want to come up and touch their baby, right? How else do you know you have autism? What goes on in that head of yours?
I always have a song playing in my head.
You always have a song playing in your head, and that goes on all the time, right? Your mind is always going, correct? How many of the rest of you is your mind's always going? Is your mind very busy?
Yeah.
Very busy. And is that why some of you like to go out into the what I call la la land?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, because I feel a little bit safer there.
Yeah, and you can just check out, right?
Yeah.
How many here can just check right out and go into their own little world?
When I have a book in my hands, I can.
When you have a book in your hand. Emily, you don't even need a book in your hand.
No.
How about you, Ben? Can you go into your own little world?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we get you out of your own little world, Lauren?
Well, usually you have to shake me. Wake up, wake up.
Hello, Earth to Lauren, right?
Yep.
Alex, how do we get you out of your world when you're into it? Or you can come out pretty quickly.
Come out pretty quickly.
Yeah, we just have to say your name and say, yoo-hoo. What about you, Andy? You're a little tougher sometimes.
I think it's just sort of persuasion by saying you get like a cookie if you do now. Well, actually that has worked with my parents.
Good incentive for you. Huh?
Sad but true, that does work with Andy.
I mean, my parents over the years have said if you get a good grade, we'll take you out to dinner and stuff like that. So I mean that stuff does work. So.
I still can't find a good way into my own world. The entrance still eludes me. There are times when I wish I could actually get in, but I can't.
Yeah, you're not one that goes into your own world that often, right?
Really, ever. And there are times when I wish I could because the one that I'm in just really isn't working out for whatever reason.
And Emily, what gets you out of your little la-la?
I don't know, it's hard. I guess I need distractions. I have maybe other people around, but talk to me or something. Because if we're just all sitting here, I'll just say, I'll start thinking about all the things I like to think about, all the stuff I like and everything. And
So that's like a coping skill to think about the things that you like.
Yes.
So you go into that, so it's kind of safe thinking, right?
Yes.
What about you, Mike?
When I have a book in my hands, it can be very hard to get me out of my own world.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
When you have chores to do, it can be
Right.
very hard to get you out of your own little world. Huh?
Right. For example, one night, I was reading a book and I ended up reading it till 12 in the morning and not realizing that I hadn't taken my shower yet.
Yeah. That'll cost you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cost everyone around you too.
Yeah. So, we're saying that having autism, what we want people to know is that autism has many different faces and many different looks. And I think that's what's so confusing for people, is that they think that autism it looks one way, and it's not.
We got a great piece of feedback, boss, on one of our presentation evaluation forms. And it said, it was a very kind gentleman who was very insightful. He said in his feedback that it was his first time learning that autism doesn't just mean the same manifestations of thought patterns, and that he was amazed to learn that people on the autism spectrum don't all think the same way and look the same way and aren't all just completely incapable of socializing and relating. And our viewers out there at home, you've seen over the past 20-ish minutes how we all relate to each other and are capable of laughing and joking with each other, and really it's like living proof that there are as many different kinds of people with autism as there are people with autism.
Yes, we are all very different, but we are all very much the same. And I would like people to realize that anxiety is a big factor. And one thing about kids on the spectrum or people on the spectrum is that they always tell the truth, whether you want to hear it or not, and they're not being disrespectful, they just tell it like it is, right?
Makes for some funny moments.
It does make for some funny moments, like when one of our kids told his gym teacher that the teacher gave him some feedback, and he said to the teacher, well, I could tell you that you're fat. And the teacher did not like that at all. So, but he was just upset that the teacher didn't like what he was doing in the gym class. So they'll say, I don't want to work with you because you have coffee breath or something like that. But you guys aren't being rude, are you?
No.
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally. So sometimes people do think you are rude, though, right? And
Often.
sometimes the word arrogant has been used. And why do you think that is, Lucas?
Or worse words, unfortunately, in some cases. But we often are misunderstood as being manipulative or arrogant because we are often very intelligent, but what we're capable of putting forth on any given day may not be the same level of what we're capable of putting forth on the next day or the previous day. So people have generally the same expectations of us all the time without allowing for flexibility. So often we get things like, well, you could do this yesterday, what's the big problem today? You must just be trying to get out of it, you must be being manipulative, you're just copying an attitude with me. People who are working with us often make it more about themselves or about...
Well, I think it's a lack of understanding, and that's one of the things that we're trying to show, is that there are many faces, and to please try and understand us as a group and take the time, because autism is a relationship disorder, and the more relationships that these guys can have, and the more that you feel that people like you and care about you, then the better off it is for you guys, right?
Absolutely.
What else would anybody like to say about what it's like to be on the spectrum? Is it a challenge? Is it fun? Mike?
It's not just a four-way street. It's got many more ways that you can go down.
Yeah.
Some paths can be creepy and dark, like mine was when I was younger, but...
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but now life is looking up for you.
Yep.
Right.
I'm currently an intern at the Shannon House Group Home, which is one of the things Donna has incorporated with Focus.
Yep.
And basically, like, if you don't understand your autism, you're not going to really get far with it.
Yep.
You have to be one with yourself and with the autism, basically,
That's right.
so to speak.
So that's a very good point. Be one with yourself and one with autism. Ben, this was your very first, episode here.
Yeah.
And what? Anything else you want them to know about what it's like to have autism, or what it's like to know? Brief, something short. anything that you want them to know?
Yeah.
What?
Like if I'm, like, if I'm gonna be on the autism spectrum for when Mom picks me up, Mom is a very good mom to me, and she loves to be with me. And what it's like to have autism is I like to be creative, and I like to be a young man or a boy, and I like to create animals and draw pictures.
And Mom was wondering if she needed to come today, and what did you tell her?
That I didn't want Mommy. I just want to do this independently so Mom can be proud.
Very nice. And isn't that something that we all want, is for our families and people that are important in our lives to feel proud of us?
Yes.
Alex, is that important to you?
Yes.
And who else would you like to be proud of you?
So my
Say,
friends at Focus.
yep. Friends at Focus. Yep. And I also want you to, I hope you can see that everybody here is such hard workers. All right. Our time is up for today. And Lucas, would you like to have the final last word?
Yeah, we would just really like to let everybody know that we don't feel that we're broken. We really don't feel a need to be fixed. We just want to be accepted as we are and met halfway. Maybe not all the way, maybe all the way sometimes is a bit much, but we want to be met halfway. We want to know that you guys are willing to make the effort to try to understand us too, and that we really struggle sometimes to be able to meet all of you who are not on the spectrum at your own doorstep. So just please try and be understanding of us, and that's all we ask.
And please join us again for another show, another time.
Thank you all for joining us this evening.
Everybody say?
Thank you.
Thank you.